inaugural show of a very unique series, two venues, one mic. Make some noise, New Yo. We are currently connected with Paris. Ron, do we have the focus here on New York? Did we pin it over here on New York? Want to make sure, because we are all working behind the scenes to make this happen. One of them is currently right now working the camera over in Paris, and that is the CEO of Prodigiously Prodigal Productions. That is Mariela Salazar. Can we make some noise for her, y'all? Also here in the cafe, in a second we're going to go to Paris, because Paris is actually going to kick this off with their poets. So I'll make sure that I recognize some people in the building. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to my assistant producer, who has been a huge help in the DJ booth here in the cafe, and that is Mr. Ron Mark Thompson. And if you are looking at me and you're like, wow, he is in HD looking crisp, that is because one of our poets came in and brought their camera, HD camera, to make sure we look good, and I'm so thankful for it. And that is Anthony Missiano. Make some noise for him. We are going to be hearing his poetry later on. Of course, I am one of the hosts. My name is Advocate of Wordz. I am a writer, a performer, a teacher. I teach kids how to talk their way out of detention, because that is what poetry is for. So I'm going to be hosting here on this end at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. And like I said, we have this great gentleman over in Paris named David Barnes, who's going to be hosting on that side. They have this beautiful community called Spoken Word Paris. It's been around since 2006. Mariela had gone out there and she was like, oh my God, babe, this is like such a great place. We need to work with them. We reached out to David. David was like, okay, sure, I'll do you that favor. David has been fantastic. I'm eager to hear all of the poets in Paris. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to start off in a few minutes, like in a minute or two. We're going to go over to Paris. David's going to take over. He's going to speak about Spoken Word Paris and that wonderful community and introduce it to us. And then they're going to have three poets perform. It's going to come back to us. We're going to do three poets here. And then we're going to go back to Paris for a couple of poets. And we are going to have a break. Now, usually here in the Nuyorican, we don't have breaks in between, but I know that that's what they do in Paris. So we were like, let's do it. This is how your culture is, your community is. Let's do it. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to have a second half and come back to it. And we're going to get, in total, we're going to hear 8 poets from each side. I think David may even be performing a poem. I hope so. I know, like as hosts, sometimes we forget to host the performers too. And David's going to rock out. I'm eager to hear it. So I think I've covered everything. I just want to get into the poetry. Sorry we started a little late, a couple of minutes late. We like to start on time, but of course, like this is a new venture. This is a very unique series that we haven't done before, so we're testing out all of the technology. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. So, with that being said, Ron, let us go over to Paris. David Barnes, the wheel is yours.
Welcome to the shadow. Welcome to the shadow art. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. I have no idea. Is this coming through the microphone? Yeah, it's coming through the microphone. Right, welcome to the Shadow Hour. This is Spoken Word Paris. Thank you for turning up on a Sunday. We have a great lineup of 8 poets, all based in Paris, all living in Paris, who are going to do their thing. Some of them are French, some of them are not French. They're all going to do their stuff, maybe in French, maybe in English, and they're all going to do 4 minutes. And we're going to be going over to the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, a legendary venue in New York. I know some of you have been there, some of you may have performed there, and it's like, you know, it's if we were in Paris, that is, we would be going here, but if we were there, we would be going there every week, right? That's the case. Right. Yeah. Okay. Each poet tonight has just 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So it's going to be a very concentrated exchange of poetry. And I want you to give a big welcome to the first poet who's coming up tonight in Paris. Please welcome Thibaut Name.
This is called Dead of Night Salsa. Is there anything but a rifle when the bachata beats? It's the vacuum of my heart, the dead of night. To my jaw, pointing to my feet, back and forth across the dance floor is the drawl of defeat. To the small of my throat, tightening in the precise execution of movement within motions and rhythm. As the detonation rings, arms long and large hieroglyphs miming tales of better rhythm, of felt underlined intent. The brain, freed from its chair, seeks new grounds in mindlessness, as we are but stillness in the vivid picture of our forced smiles, as breath falls short, as touch loses sense, as one step doesn't go after the other. Across the red pattern on the wall, the dead of night meets the empty space between moments. In the furor of minutes, we finally released the chopped monster of fantasies. Thank you. This is called Younger Figure. A4s and A3s unfolded from my father's briefcase, coloring sheets of The Little Mermaid. I was told I was a sweet kid with a caring father and love for mythical woman and Flounder. I had a caring father who told tales of Batman and Superman at bedtimes, who made a Lego outpost for an island watching over a wooden boat cruising on the carpet sea of the living room. And I, just like the waves, rocked myself on the couch. Oh, my captain, to what ocean have we lost us? Was it behind the doors of a play saloon on the bedroom floor? Or within the dungeon of an impregnable castle on a dining table? Where are the risky conquests and formidable defeats at your hands on the board? And the plastic racetrack, and the model railroad, and the stories of history you've told? Where are the tales and the games and the bond of time? I remember he cared enough to sneak a couple of copies from his desk job to indulge the most girl-like of coloring pages for his boy. I remember he cared. And then maybe now. And then I was alone to tell my own stories. Thank you.
So, over there, you listeners in the Nuyorican, Thibault is one of our French poets from just outside Paris who works in both French and English. We're going to go now to a poet who is, Jan. Please welcome Jan to the stage. Jan.
Evening, everyone. Hey. All right, I got 2 poems for you. Pair bonding in the city. My metal fingers barely make a dent in the metal of your wire frame shoulders. We parcel every affection into bento boxes. A cubist banquet, a myriad that never dares to touch. The corn cannot infect the pea, the mash must never overwhelm the meat. Consume acts of kindness and validation and heartfelt words of affirmation like the black hole punched through the heart of every substance abuser. We run our mouths into the ground. The alarm clocks have grown into cathedrals and their bone structures are burning, and still we can't wake up to save our own lives. Until the roof caves in, and this the moment. The armor plating takes on its full significance and shines with unleashed potential. Whatever you need to do to be happy, do it fast, because my limbs are being dismantled and reclaimed as rail pikes and rebar, welded and sutured to feed the city stacking up around me. Neck deep in concrete, and it's growing hot as the boa constricts, compressing the air in my lungs into discrete solids. Two rattle bags of glass marbles, grinding like a smoker's cough that says, I'm here in the room with you. Voiceless, holding up the walls, keeping the floor level, the books from slanting off the shelves, learning how to breathe underwater. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, this one's called Superman Complex. I've stopped many a bad heart. It takes one to know one. I once set my parents on fire in a pyrokinetic accident, and I loved every second of it. Orphan supervillains have the best monologues anyway. I tend to burst my hair into flame just to let my girlfriend know a boundary was crossed. Fear me as I load this dishwasher. Fear me, but hand me the silverware all the same. Love is a trickster divinity of the worst kind, and it takes one to know one. I'm that type of teleporter who appears at lavish parties hosted by despots and tyrants and their whole families, where I pinch off random arteries with a thought. I shapeshift, superhero, anti-hero, everyman, paranoid, schizophrenic, the villain all along. I turn invisible so my girlfriend can imagine a better life. I white knuckle the role play like only a white knight can. But every job has its perks, and every mad scientist has a stockpile of psychoactive drugs, and all the best ones are my kryptonite. When I'm craving, I flick peanuts at bar patrons who die writhing in anaphylactic shock. Every miracle has its innocent bystanders. Fear me as I make an exit you will never forget in a spectacular one-man murder-suicide. I am that time traveler of the absolute worst kind. A born killer who can't be trusted around himself. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's a specialist in doing poems about Florida Man. Florida Man is a thing that we've been following over in Paris for a while now. Check it out if you don't know it already. Right, so we've got a third poet coming up from Paris. Now we're going to impress you with Bruce. Please welcome Bruce.
I have 2 poems, thank you. This is called Saltwater on Your Lips.
What I thought was my manhood leaked out into the sea, where I thought sailors would go. A cruel trick of night. We are born wet near the bottom of our lives, and sunlight slaps the sea's surface, and we breathe that first time. A cry, a scream, and a settling gurgle. On dry land, my mother and father gave me a title on colorless parchment. Nourished on muscle, I began to build muscle and language, and smaller fins, gills, and scales. Then one day, I was a man. My brain was large, my cold hair dry. A house far from the ocean, far from the sound of its suggestion. Distance provided fathoms I could measure of a fathomless memory. What had been my name? What had I really cried on that first hot day? Babies of turtles, bears, and fish. Simple truth in their simple sound. Lug, 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 love, love, love. Ah, yes, love. Now that is simple. Thank you.
Yeah.
For Kiara.
This is called do. 2E equals lope. To elope. Bus stop, dot, E, question mark, X, dash, hubby relents, wrapped in front page, dot, dreaming of his last day, whistling under breath, work weighs him down, dot, exhalations of death, plus, drunk X, dash, wifey, school teacher, accused of many things, many lawyers, dot, once new spectacles, dot, broken heel, accelerator, dot, red lights don't stop hookers, minus, parentheses, why, not me, question mark, parentheses, plus, X, question mark, X, dash, hubby, eats sandwich on old bus, dot, girls tickle easily, dot, 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 desires between bite scene feel so real, dot, 7:30 dash 88 point egg today, not his favorite, plus, X dash wifey is smashing, dot, guts of a bus, dot, a trawler for wall-eyed commuters, front fender and nose bone alike, dot, give them crunch, dot, hubby wiped egg with 85 mph napkin, plus, dying, dot, last day, dot, beautiful as the future, X, question mark, X, hash, hubby, dream that last thought, dot, cold, dot, aware, fine day to skip work, he says, plus, dying, dot, it won't add up, dot, joyous as algebra, dot, X dash wifey, beat the equation, dot, so many bad deeds become only one, plus, parentheses, dead plus pulp plus main plus incinerated plus introduced plus clutching plus embracing times kissing times gyrating times mating times embedded, parentheses, it equals, we are wedded. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Bruce Sherfield. Before that, we had Jan Ruslo and Thibaut Nami. And I'm just looking at, this is a packed room of people very hungry for poetry. And we're going to pass over to New York, and we're looking forward to whatever it is you have over there in New York that you're going to hit us with. Okay, over to you. New York.
We good? We good? Nuyorican, can we make some noise for our first three poets from Paris? Check. Are we good? Ron, we're good? All right, can Paris hear us? You can hear us, Paris? They hear us? I want to make sure. One of the drawbacks I was saying to what we're doing is that the people in Paris aren't here in the crowd here at the Nuyorican. They were laughing. They were making some noise. They're like, ooh, open the line. They liked it. So, lights good? We good, Ron? Awesome. I want to make sure we good because I, after Paris lit it up with that fire, I'm like, all right, Cafe, we gonna bring that fire now. So, We got some poets for you now. I'm really excited about this. First coming up, hailing all the way from Queens. Do not be fooled when she first gets on the mic with her sweet and humble voice. We like to call her Thunderlung because when she speaks, it feels like all the ancestors are coming through her. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the microphone our first poet from New York, Ray Jane. Let's make some noise for Ray Jane.
Good evening, good afternoon. I'm Ray Jane, giving grace and honor to the Creator, allow me to be here, to Miguel Algarin and all the creatives who make this space, for all of you who are listening and sharing my energy. I thank you. This is called Spoils. I went to war for love, returning with peace in my beak, favoring dove. The rainbows arched over me as I dragged my sword behind me, well used and bloody. I am different now. Unsure of how or when the courage began, raged over me. Courage bringing my men and my wits like men, I am gathering them and armoring them with mothered lessons, smothered blessings, slathering cheeks with grease, lacing up sneaks, pulling the cares, littering my hair back into my pony and tailed myself. Following me into battles for myself, got over being stunned to find the real enemy was me. Certain type of rage rising when you abhor yourself, so I bugle and charge myself. I set my narrow views on arrows to embold myself, strapped weights of worlds to shoulders and slinged myself. I hurled myself over my gates and broke the ash of me and villages already decimated in the past to fill my moats with. Warring well into the night, these emotional elephants, a cyclops, my mind's eye don't sleep, so I can't stop. I keep coming for myself. Circling myself 7 times, crumbling my walls, demolishing my crimes that I had learned to stand behind, protecting vital vulnerability inside. I made quick work of myself once I realized ain't no sanctuary in a house of lies. Friends always revealing themselves as spies, always down to get in on the action, always ready to ride for me, even pulling moon and rising tide for me, placing victory in the sky for me, smoke of sanity rising from the rubble of me, winning. But sometimes I still stumble on memories, but after every battle I see sunrise. Live for veil lifting between physical and spiritual me, come out on the other side, incompletely complete, still figure 8 free. All I am is a representation of me, bruised and violently varying shades of blue. I be littered in new tattoos, reminders to see the rips and rage that scattered me, limping and battered while shattered I bend knee. Say grace and pour libations over my debris. Planting new flags, amending declarations deliberately, emerging with new rules and regulations governing me. My better I am able to deal with special operations, my black back to defeating ops. I conquered myself once I conjured myself continuous fatigue, 'cause I never stopped. Thank you.
Ray Make sure you look up Ray Jane. Her Instagram is It's Ray Jane, ITS Ray Jane. That is also her website. Also, for those of you who are interested, I'm going to be speaking with David to make sure that we have everyone's contact information for the poets who are performing in Paris. And we're going to make sure we have all the information for all the poets performing here in New York. Put it all in one document. We're going to put it out there so that everyone who's listening, you want to look up more of these poets, you can. And I'm really big on that. I'm really big on encouraging, building community. And we don't want you to just wait for our next event to hear the poets. They are doing other things, as I'm sure that there are poets in Paris who are doing a bunch of stuff. And I know us here are going to want to go and find out more information about that. So that was Ray Jane. And now we're going to continue on. Like I had mentioned this man before, he brought the HD camera. He has done film and theater. He has been in front of a camera. He works behind the camera. He does editing. He is like a one-man army, like me, except he has a much better jawline built for a blockbuster in Hollywood. And he's got a voice made for radio. And he hates when I say that. He's like, I want people to pay attention to the work. So listen. Just preparing y'all, a good-looking man is about to come to the mic. Do not stare at him, just listen. Anthony Missiano to the stage.
I tend to think a lot about the things I'm hesitant to say, the way I want to speak about I tend to think a lot about these things I'm hesitant to say, the way I want to speak about the thoughts that I'm terribly sorry. Technology. Without it, we wouldn't be doing this today. That's what it is. Hey, all right. I tend to think a lot about these things I'm hesitant to say, these thoughts that weigh on heavy minds and suck up time from every day. The way I want to speak about, just spit it out. What? Just spit it out. Is this a comedy bit we're doing? Just spit it out, stop wasting time and pussyfooting around the point. You're right, I'm sorry, I'm just feeling stuck here. I don't mean to whine. Just rip the fucking Band-Aid off. You're always wasting precious time with nonsense when you know that shit is on the line. Tony, you're a moron, do it right, so help me God. I'm trying, but you know maybe you don't have to be mean about it. Really? You're always mean about it. Really? Maybe next time you could really take it easier. Oh, please, I'm more than happy to be easy if that worked on you, but what about that time you needed me to push you through the door? I'm more than capable of doing things without your help. Well, news to me, last time I checked, you chickened out and swore, I'm going to follow through and take a chance. I need to take this leap, but without me, your words are cheap. You're just a creep who pushes me around. You moved to New York, why? Because of me, I guess. You went on those auditions because of me. Yes. I pulled you by your little bootstraps, made you exercise your fat ass adolescent body so you look a little like a man. I saved your ass, so pardon if I have to slap the shit out of you sometimes. Without me, you're just a wussy kid without a plan. Woo! You're right. What's that? You're right. It worked on me, it'll work on you. What do you mean? Not a damn thing. Then why did you say it? What? You've got to explain it. What? It worked on me, it'll work on you. What did you mean by that? Don't push my fucking buttons. No. Is it things you're hesitant to say? Those thoughts that weigh on heavy minds and suck up time from day to day? No, tell me, you're so fucking brave. What did you mean by that? The hitting and the spitting on, the taunting and the shitting on, you call me names and shame me. So, hey, what did you mean by that? When shit just works, it works. If it ain't broken, don't go fix it. When you're digging at the past. Is that it? I swear to fucking God, there's people sitting here and watching, waiting, wondering, and wanting, so don't waste their fucking time. The past. That's it. Can't you see they're looking at me? Nothing's gonna be okay. Any minute they're gonna leave, they'll all just run away. And look, it worked on me, it'll work on you. They hit me, and it shut me up when I needed to show silence. They slapped me, then they stood me up when I needed to look strong. They called me names and shamed me when they took a break from violence, and they were supposed to love me, so how could all that be wrong? So I had to be tough. I had to get strong. If I show them that I'm terrified, do you think that's gonna play? Because any minute they're gonna leave, they'll all just run away. I can't feel the ground beneath my feet. Nothing's gonna be okay. I'm sorry that they hit you. That doesn't mean I didn't deserve it. It's not your fault they left. I won't leave you. Everything's gonna be okay. Thank you.
Anthony Missiano, a talented writer, a talented actor. And I was speaking with him before the show. He does a lot of film editing. So if you need some film editing, hit him up. But more importantly, if you need a performer, make sure you hit him up. One more time, let's give it up for Anthony Missiano. Next coming up is a woman I have a huge crush on. She is married and unfortunately very faithful. Very respectable, all of that great stuff means that I don't have fun. But I do have a girlfriend, but my girlfriend knows that like this is my whole past if I ever get the chance. I like to talk about this woman, about how she has this great combination of wisdom and vibrancy. Like it is so alive when she comes and performs, but there's so much wisdom behind it. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage, the one, the only, Diane Ward. Let's make some noise for Diane Ward.
Thank you so much, everyone. Bonsoir, my friends and fans. Bonsoir. Well, in the United States, we have this custom that's called Halloween. And I wrote a piece for Halloween, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Is that better? Yeah. All right. Halloween, people dress up. So this is called Halloween. It's called I Am. No, I'm not Pocahontas. No, I'm not Hiawatha. No, I'm not Sacagawea. I'm Mrs. Tonto, okay? Mrs. Tonto. Behind every great man is an outstanding woman. I don't see anybody dressed up like me for Halloween. What's that about? He looks good, right? Those deer skins don't fit by themselves, okay? Funny, you can pronounce every basketball, football, tennis player's long lettered names, but when it comes to my name, you have a problem pronouncing it, saying it's too many letters. So you can both spell and pronounce it Tonto. Okay, just saying. Oh, do you want to say something? Of course you can say something. Wait a minute, I got someone else that wants to talk to you. Just a minute. It's a captive audience, don't worry. It's okay. Yes, do you recognize me? Yes, I'm Mary Magdalene. Yes, I am an apostle. No, He doesn't have blue eyes and blonde hair. You see where we're from, right? Okay. Yes, I still pray for you. I pray for you. Some of you don't have a prayer, but that's okay. That's okay, I still pray for you. You know, and it's funny, James, John, Matthew, Thomas, they say I look a lot like Mrs. Tonto. Isn't that amazing? Oh, did you want to say something? Of course you can, of course you can. Captive audience, just wait a minute, someone else would like to speak to you. Someone else would like to speak to you. Hi. My name is Pura Belpre. I don't see anyone dressed like me for Halloween. I am the first Puerto Rican librarian for the New York Public Library. In our culture, we use an oral tradition to share stories. Our stories are passed down from mothers and grandmothers and grandpas. And that oral tradition, I realized in New York City, was never written down. There were no books to show and share and read with our children the vast culture in the Latin and Hispanic countries. So I decided, let's write. Let us write these beautiful stories down. There's a wonderful story, Perez and Martina. A lot of children know this story. They learn it from their mama's knee. Perez was a little mouse and Martina was a Spanish cockroach that had a beautiful, a fantastic, romantic affair. And I found that we needed to have more of this literature available. So you know what? It is so fantastic. CUNY, the City University of New York, Hunter College, they have an entire bibliothèque about all my films, my books, my essays, my writings, my speeches, about making it possible for us to have written material, written books, and all this information available for our children, so that it does not die with the last person that gives that oral tradition. The books, they're very important. It's part of the heritage and culture of our people. Did you want to say something? Of course you can. Yes, captive audience. Just a moment, please. No problem. Wait 1 minute. I'll be right with you. Hi, it's good to see you again. I'm Kalpana Chalwa. I was the first Indian American astronaut. And unfortunately, in 2003, the shuttle exploded. I hope I'm still an inspiration to all the children that aspire to reach the stars. It's so important for our children to aspire, to learn, to see the universe, the stars, the heavens, it is amazing here. It is fabulous, and we really need to encourage our children as much as possible and let them know that they can reach for everything. Did you want to say something? Yes, of course. 1 moment, please. I have another person for you to meet. This is the Supreme Court. Yes, I'm RBG. It's very bright here, very bright. Yes, I am Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I am still working with you. I have not given up. I see you trying. I'm with you from this side. I'm still with you. You got a lot of work to do. Yes. Yes. You know, there's a lady, her maiden name is Murray. You know, if I had 4 sons, one of them would have been named Murray. My people use that as a first name for our sons, you know. Did you know that? Yes. Yes. We will get there. We will get there, but we have a lot of work to do. It's fabulous here. It's fabulous. I love it. I love it. Did you want to say something? Oh, okay. Hi. I'm Diane Murray Ward.
Yeah!
On behalf of Mrs. Tonto, Pura Belpre. Oh, yes. On behalf of Mary Magdalene, on behalf of Kalpana Chawla, on behalf of RBG, let me just tell you, we are all the same. Thank you.
Give it up for Diane Ward! Diane Ward. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. She went into schizophrenic mode. I'm all here for it. Okay. So we're gonna go back to Paris. Paris is gonna have 2 of their poets rock out. Then we are going to take our break. So if David Barnes is ready, we're ready to hear you guys again.
Hey, Brad, this is Paris. Can you hear us over there in New York? I hope so. Hey, Paris, are you enjoying it so far?
Can't hear.
Yeah. Having a good time? Yeah. We have got 2 more poets for you in this half. And the first one, I should say,
Hold on. Am I unmuted?
Nuyorican,
You
you should
unmute
know
me,
this,
Ron?
that, like,
Guys in Paris,
there
we
is
can't
a
hear you.
huge scene
You're
of
muted.
spoken
You're muted
word
over there.
in French. There's a huge French scene.
Can't hear us that well.
You can't hear us that well?
I keep hearing David. I see David talking, but he's muted.
Can you hear us now? There is a huge French spoken word scene going on in Paris, all big cities in France. And it's sort of like what you do, and it's sort of like completely different. But please welcome the next poet, who is probably going to do stuff in English, but he's been a huge part of the French spoken word scene and used to also come here whenever he could. Please welcome Dereka Deremo to the stage.
Yeah, I'm too rusty for my English poems, unfortunately. So maybe you get a taste of French language, and I'm very excited to be here tonight and to have the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. Had the chance to perform a couple of times there. It was pretty dope. And now I have it's not a love letter to Paris, just like a letter to Paris. So it's in French, but you know what we say, if you don't get the poem, feel it, right?
Saying that.
Everybody. Jaillir, tomber, s'écorcher les genoux, repart, jaillir, tomber, s'écorcher les genoux, repart, jump, fall, rip off your knees and start again. Le soleil tape en rythme sur mes tempes. Je regarde d'un œil mauvais tout ce qu'il faut que j'arpente. Le soleil tape en rythme sur mes tempes. Du haut de cette colline, 21 siècles nous comptons. Stan Smith au pied, de tout en haut, je prépare un sprint vers au-delà, de nulle part. Le balai des courses inachevées, le balai de tous les jours, quand tâche de lever le soleil. Tape en rythme sur mes tempes. Basket, arrêt, action, OP, me voile après, se forme la pente de Ménil. Mon cœur ne bat que pour tabac, c'est la descente. Dépassant le regard des passants. Les supporters déçus partiront-ils rejoindre mon passé sans but, entre eux, lassés des abus de la butte. Sur les pentes de Paris, on y danse sur tous les fronts, un carnaval de cavalcade, qu'on avalcarne nos caravanes, de crâne à bout, qu'on décarne nos gardes à bout. Je dégringole fier, dans mes grolles de gringo, mes pieds ragadenso, le tour des passants calypso, des tranches de vie, des arcs-en-ciel de peau, défilent sous mes yeux. Ici, misère et confort se partagent l'enfer et les cieux. Fall, rip off your knees, start again, jaillir, tomber, s'écorcher les genoux et repartir. Je cours, je sprint, je dévale, je hue et diaphragme d'un objectif dispersé par le vent que challenge me foulé. Je tends mes grands bêtes, tenter si bien que je n'en finis pas de grandir. Je suis un géant Paris, alors pour une fois, lève un peu les yeux. J'ai des jambes de colosse pour traverser la foule, pour enjamber les barbouzes qui déballent, des bobards que gobent les bateaux, sacs ballants de bibelots, courbes des miracles de Babylone. Mes poumons jadis purs boivent ton air nocif, à la fois Atlas, s'attelant à la tâche et Sisyphe, incisif, je déballe ma boule de nerfs dans les pentes de Paris, ma ville. J'ai tellement pris entorse que tes immeubles m'arrivent à la cheville et Mes bras immenses s'abattent sur toi en ombre oxymore sur ton soleil philosophal. Paris, je t'arrache les tombes d'une main et mes doigts sont des petits squelettes qui dansent dans le cimetière du père. La chair reprend vie quand mes shoes battent le pavé. La vitesse et tes angoisses sont de ma tête un panier percé. Psycho Paris, qu'est-ce que c'est? Aspire à plus de friction. Et mes pas au travers des passants balbutient leur diction. Asphalte, vide, asphalte, void, 100 times, asphalte, void, sueur, bleu ciel, gris bitume, rouge feu, le soleil tape en rythme sur mes tempes. Asphalte, vide, accélération, asphalte, saut, suspension. Paris, regarde-moi, je vole. Par-delà les regrets et tous tes abus. Paris, je te vomis tout l'alcool que j'ai pas bu. Paris, j'ai pas la fringale de tes toits. Mais c'est eux qui me nouent l'estomac. Paris, je te mords à pleines dents. Même si tu m'en as pris 4, je te mords jusqu'au sang. Paris, j'ai appris à me battre. Suspension, vide, asphalte, acceleration. Thank you very much.
And now we're going to close the first round, the first half, with our poet in residence at Spoken Word Paris. Please welcome Alexandra Antonia Klemenko to the stage.
Hello, everyone. So great to share this event with you. Thank you for being here. Song of the Homeless. How long must I go on pushing my life before me? My feet are bare and swollen. They do not know me anymore. And I haven't yet enough hands to keep me warm or make a pillow for my head. Maybe I'll grow new fingers tomorrow so they too can stick out like a sore thumb. I suppose you think I could find a better place to hide than in the poverty of my skin. Do you think I like carrying my heart around with me in a basket? You do not care that I have forgotten the words to the songs I am singing, and I am running out of songs. How could you know firsthand that it is not my death I fear, only that I should learn of it secondhand? Untitled. I'm the one who's never home when you knock, and if she is when you don't, admits no one black or white, living or dead. Henny Penny had many heads. And the trick I performed long before I was born, like this poem written backwards. I'm the stunt that defies and the cry to deaf eyes, whose only reply is ashes, ashes. The Lord moves in mysterious ways, and I am falling upward. I'm the earth that turns and cuts me from its tree. I'm the ocean that slides from my shore. I'm a point as moved as any fixed mark. I'm the eyes of the dead potato who finds her way back in the dark. I'm the blood I give but never give up. I'm the wine that flows outside the cup. I'm the truth inside the lie. I'm transparent fucking butterfly. The Lord moves in mysterious ways, so why can't you or I? I'm the play I'm writing without a plot, the word forget that I forgot, the regret that once escaped my lips, the mercy that hangs now round my hips, with the pool of gravity, the real of unreality, the all or nothing, the nothing of all, the indelible handwriting on the wall that hums like a ghetto rhapsody. I'm the bum in the park who says less is more, the plexiglass sky of the invisible floor, the one who cries just outside your door. And the intimate stranger who waits for just a glimpse of you, the living poem, the anonymous fingerprints of you, the enemy you befriend whose soul can transcend you, the goodbye that may begin but can never really end with you. I'm the saint, I'm the sinner, I'm the fish you eat for dinner. I'm the air growing thinner as I sigh. I breathe breathless, my death is deathless. I'm the song I sing when I rise. I'm the altar kneeling, the all-revealing healing of the humankind. I'm the splinters I'm still peeling from the cross I drag behind. I'm the mold and the molder. I'm the front row center season ticket holder. Step right up, folks, the mystery, the star you've waited for. I'm the protege of the original sin. I am the light I'm buried in. I'm the moth, I'm the flame. I'm the prayers for the insane. I'm everywhere and nowhere. Please remember my name.
All right, thank you, Antonia. Thank you, Tareka. Thank you, T-Bone. Thank you, Bruce Sheffield. And Jan Ruslo. Thank you, everybody who's read in the Paris end.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. Mariella. Thank you all, everybody in New York. We are going to take a 15-minute break because that's what we do in Paris. Like we can go out, we can have a cigarette, we can go to the bar, we can get a drink. I don't know how it works in New York, but we're going to do that. And we're going to be back in 15 minutes to hear what's going on in New York and with more poets here as well. Okay, see you in 15 minutes.
mic and the soundboard. Number 2 and the main one, or the main one all the way to the right. Whoa. Check. All right. Are we unmuted, Ron? And we got the video going? Fantastic. I hope that everyone enjoyed their quick 15-minute break, got your snacks on, went to the restroom, called the babysitter, called your main partner, called your side partner, whatever it is you do. I'm not judging you. So I know the people in Paris are starting to get back settled in. The people here are getting settled in. So those of you who are joining us late, you are tuning in to the very first, the video's on. You're tuning in to the very first, the inaugural show of a unique series called Two Venues, One Mic, where 2 venues across the globe come together and host an open mic simultaneously. So in case you missed it, in the first half, we had a bunch of poets from Paris who came on, who were fantastic, by the way. Right? Can we give it up for them one more time? We were over here laughing and cheering and finger snapping and all that kind of stuff, you know, being obnoxious like we like to be here in New York City. Loved it. And we had some of the poets here rock in the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. We're about to get into that. I'd like to say some thank yous. Of course, after our poets here in New York rock out, we are going to go back to Paris. But I would like to thank David Barnes, the host over in Spoken Word Paris. Give it up for him. Those who know me know that they rarely see me without a hat, so I appreciate David and his hat game. Shout out to Mr. David Barnes. Okay, it's okay. It's all right. They're still getting ready in Paris. It's cool. Also, want to give a shout out to the assistant producer of the show who's here in the cafe in the DJ booth, Mr. Ron Mark Thompson. Thank you, Ron. Also want to give a shout out to executive producer Mariela Salazar. Let's make some noise for her. And a special shout out goes to her parents who's looking in. Mr. and Mrs. Salazar out in the Philippines. Make some noise for them. You have a fantastic daughter. You did a good job parenting. We love her. We appreciate her greatly. Thank you so much. And in fact, I'm going to further embarrass her while the people in Paris are getting ready. Mariella recently became a barrister, which is a lawyer over in London. We are super proud of her. But I am warning everyone, we need to stay away from her. She is a human being with a new toy. Now that she is a lawyer, she's looking to sue everyone. So beware. But give her a follow at Made by Mariella. She is the CEO of Prodigiously Prodigal Productions. So, I am Advocate of Wordz. I am a writer, performer, a host, a teacher here with the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. You can find me on all the social medias at Advocate of Wordz. So, with that being said, we've got 3 poets here in New York City that are going to kick it off. After them, we're going to go back to Paris. So, we are going to begin with one of the OGs here at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. One of the men who is part of the original guard. He's an original gangster. He didn't just look up online and listen to what people were doing in the Nuyorican Poets Cafe in the beginning. He was part of the building up of it in the beginning. It has been such a great honor for me to have him still be part of our events right now, because as the Nuyorican grows and evolves, we still want those who helped build it in the beginning, who are here before us, to appreciate and accept what we're doing. So it is heartwarming for me to have him be part of this, to be such an active member in the community and what we're doing over the pandemic and now after the pandemic, even though we're still in it. So when he comes up to the mic, we like to let you know that we are leaving the open mic and we are going into the Skiv verse, because he is his own universe. Give it up for Paul Skiv.
Here I am,
in the flesh, birthed out of the electromagnetic union of Paris and New York, a child of the love the streets of the two cities share, for words set free. You should have seen the backstage code scramble of the internet subconscious that I saw while beaming over to Chat Noir through the transatlantic cable 2 miles beneath the ocean. There was Jean-Paul Belmondo making out with Humphrey Bogart in the last row of seats at the cinema watching Godard's La Jetée. The Marquis de Sade is shrimping the Statue of Liberty. Dien Bien Phu and My Lai confess at Warmongers Anonymous their ideological anorexia is the white man's burden. Algeria and Puerto Rico are swapping stories about their abusive imperialist daddies. Madame Curie slips a glowing speck of uranium into Robert Oppenheimer's remorseful ambition, and he drinks it like he was a radioactive Aristotle. George Bush is pleasuring himself while staring at a poster of Napoleon Bonaparte. I want to telematically seep into you now like absinthe through the sugar cube purifies anticipation, the way Quasimodo jumps onto a bell rope in the belfry of Notre Dame, and let the tintinnabulation begin. But here, the undersea cable of borderless culture surfaces in a search for joy that speaks every language and picks the lock on isolation. The family of satellites holds a seance mood, blooms within like a dimension for love's transgressive permit, fills with access to the part of our feeling prevented by the impossible, where Lafayette's liberty love, the involuntary organ we in common devoted dreams to, like it is air for our lungs, air for lungs. Dignity must fill its mouth with we here at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. Bring to you in Paris this, our tradition of overcoming. The materiality of being human has always been the location for destructiveness in our creaturehood. That is why I adorn you. I adorn you and your involuntary understanding with my metaphysical. Here I am. There you are. Here I am in the flesh. There you are. Here I am in the flesh. There I am in the light. As we listen across the universal for each other's breath, and no immaterial nearness folds us into this singular moment through the custom of earth people to try and reach an understanding that with shared common feeling shapes us into one, our mother tongues birthing our togetherness in this being humane. Remember that? Being humane. Do you remember being humane in this world today where dignity delivers peace? So all struggle vanishes into the unnecessary as creation, the liberty source, our shared addiction. The liberty source reminds us again, we must all volunteer for our own joy. Listen, do you hear it? Not my voice, but our rise above the limits this path
chosen by you yourself to lift us into where we all are together here today in the Nuyorican Poets Cafe and Chat Noir Spoken Word Paris, here where we are, where we chose to lift ourselves over the limits, to lift us into unity, the utopia hint. But look now, my 4 minutes have streamed away. Say goodbye to my electromagnetic ghost shadow soul mirror, where Lafayette dances the turkey trot with Josephine Baker. Joan of Arc leads the Mardi Gras parade with Angela Davis. Timothy Leary bakes an acid souffle for Mallarmé. Justine and Lizzie Borden live in a world without penetration. The can does the boogaloo, the revolution and la revolution. The tricolor and the star-spanged banner. The Louvre and Coney Island respect each other, where justice for all and the barricades, we hold these truths to be self-evident. When you feel the anticlimax after this, remember, it was Paul's gift who got you
Paul's gift. Smells like Bacardi or Henny up here. I don't know what he sprayed, but it smells good. PaulSkiff.com. When you spell skiff, that's with 2 F's. SKIFF. Now, if you were following us online, you know that one of our performers was supposed to be a woman by the name of Amanda Villanueva. Unfortunately, she was unable to perform today. She had to take care of some things. So, of course, at the last second, I was like, what am I going to do? And the community always comes through. Next, coming to the mic, we like to call it Deadpan Lizzie because the way she performs her poetry is like that deadpan style, but her words have a great deal of life. So if you were looking for a poem, if you were looking for some real estate here in New York City, this is the woman to speak with. She is the Beanie God. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the stage Elizabeth Strauss. Make some noise as she comes to the mic. Deadpan Lizzie. Check out the Beanie, brother.
Thank you, brother. Hello. I'm going to read 2 pieces. One about France, because I speak a little French, but I'm not fluent enough these days, and I don't want to butcher the beautiful language. So this first poem is called France. French, a language I have adored since my adolescence. It feeds my soul and my tongue, moving my body and hands as I create art, dreaming of walking the streets of Paris, connecting with my tribe in the Jewish quarters, dissecting the hues in every crevice of the ever-changing bricks, jazz underscoring every inch of the nation as I roam about. I will visit soon. Until then, only in my dreams and my art. Thank you. And this is new shit I wrote the other day. It's called Assume the Positions. New shit, I know. As the clock strikes after midnight, I attempt to get comfortable by myself in the navy sheets. In the 1970s blue and white comforter and flower quilt. Air conditioner on, even on the coldest autumn night. My naked self ready to drift away into what dreamland has to offer for the next 8 to 9 hours. Realm cycle unable to begin. Spreading my legs against the pillows, my body organically making a candy cane as peppermint oil lingers on my palms and abs, still uncomfortable. I roll onto the right side of my body, left hand tucked under the pillow, one hand on my breast. I don't know why, it just feels good. Left leg wrapped up in the comforter and quilt, right knee almost touching my chin. I look like a fullback, though I gave up on the New York Giants years ago. My stomach, my back, I'm still uncomfortable. Eventually I do fall asleep. When I rise, I am in the position I fell asleep in. I am a tosser and a turner, and when I sleep solo or with a lover, big spoon or little, I am happy as a clam. Thank you.
The Beanie God deadpan Lizzie. You know, this community here at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe and what we do, I get a great deal of credit for, a lot of credit that I don't deserve, but like, it's because we have such a great community here, and Lizzie came here just to say, hey, I want to come hear poems, I want to support you guys and make some noise, and we needed a poet at the last second, and our poet's here already, so I appreciate her. One more time, let's give it up for Lizzie. We got one more poet to go here, then we're going back to Paris. Now, when we were putting this show together, we were looking for material from both communities to put together, and Paris had some great pictures, and we didn't. And this man saved our behinds. He is a photographer as well, a motorcyclist too. I did not know that, all right? And he is from New Jersey. Listen, Paris, he's from a part of New Jersey where the mafia is. He knows where all the dead bodies are. So you gotta make sure you give him a lot of love. He is also a fantastic poet. He is an irreplaceable person in our community. Please help me welcome to the stage, Abraham Cardona Jr. Make some noise as he comes to the mic.
Try my best. What up, fam? What up, fam? Now we got fam internationally. Look at that. So I got two poems here. This is called 5'6" with Philosophy. I want to be engulfed by your silence, to be ignited by your presence and have her taste of cinnamon and violence. Of cinnamon and violence, I want her. You see, her mother named her divinity, 5'6" with philosophy inked where an anklet should be. I want to wear her thoughts like corrective lenses and go sightseeing within her perspective because I'm a man enough to know that among all my goods, my wrongs aren't as self-explanatory. I often fantasize how it would be to vacate this place on jets to a place safe and as familiar as home, with a better view and feel of the sun's dawn and set. I want to live here. Here on the rims of her lips and eyelids, stirring my imagination to write love poems like essays that turn over into books into circulation. Posting translations of how love in her feels onto foreign fingertips under a foreign sky. Rolling off of a foreign tongue at open mics readings with poems that sound a little something like this. She tastes of cinnamon and violence, of cinnamon and violence. Her mother named her divinity. So, first poem, thank you, and going from written to digital, because I am not the most organized poet in the land. And this is called Dolores. I don't know her, but I want to believe that I can hear her singing within the songs my mother nostalgically hums to herself as she remembers her younger self, playing as young girls do under her native sun, dancing to the rhythms of a forgotten descendancy of how she came to be, tracing backs to the branches to get to the roots of how she came to be, generations of colorism meticulously redacted. To feel closer in line to European standards, these are symptoms. New World Stockholm Syndrome, with generations of smelting and casting fragmented colonial ideologies mixed with African and indigenous bodies to mold a chain formed I unknowingly inherited. A legacy of whitewashing and omissions, discovering footprints of mothers long lost so distance who have left their imprint onto my mahogany skin that hold untold stories of love, tragedy, but most importantly, survival. As history robbed these women of their names, I want to believe that I can hear them singing within the song my mother hums to herself. As a tear rolls down my cheek, overwhelmed with love and knowledge of self, I build a shrine in my mind for these forgotten women. Because even the dead deserve their dignity, just as every ghost is born with a name, Dolores.
Abraham Cardona, make some noise for him. Listen, when you're at a show, there are two people, there are actually three people who are super important. One of them is whoever's doing the audio, because they're the ones who's making you sound good, right? The audio technician. The other, of course, is the bartender, right? You make sure they are very important at the shows. And last but not least, it is the photographer. So Abraham has also been taking pictures, and that's really important because you want someone else taking pictures of you while you're out enjoying, having fun, so that when you put your picture on social media, you know, when your exes are stalking you, it'll piss them off, right? So make sure you take care of your photographer, bartender, and the audio engineer, and you will have a great show all the time. We got one more poet we're gonna do here in New York. Oh no, wait, that was it. That was the third one. We're going to Paris. I'm sorry. Paris has been killing it. I've been enjoying myself. So, David, if you're ready, we're ready to hear the next three poets from Paris. Well, let's unmute Paris. No, this time you really are muted. It's not just on our end.
Okay.
There we go.
We're going into, for us, it's like the third part of our pods. I just want to say that, like, first of all, I want to say that you can reach us.
Hold it out over again.
We'll never know where to find them.
You muted yourself. I know, right?
He means every word of this.
We have, first of all, please welcome a poet who is English and Italian and lives in France and is an actor as well. Please welcome Rufo Quintana.
He's the man.
Thank you. You can hear me okay? Yeah. Thank you, David, and thank you, New York. This first poem is called The Silence. I live alone in heaven, alone inside my song. You can step inside this place tonight, but do not stay too long. The sun and the moon may kiss me upon my borrowed bed, but the Son of Man has nowhere for him to lay his head. The daughters of society are calling in the street, but there is only one of them that I will ever meet. The children of oblivion are making all their noise, but I would not trade my solitude for those pretty girls and boys. It is here, inside the silence, that I will wait for you. And a voice within the silence will show me what to do. Come to me in radiance and find me on my knees, your eyes like the light of prophecy streaming through the trees. Your lips have tasted sorrow and so will never age. Your laughter in the evening is the poem on the page. So be with me when morning comes and friends will come and go. I have forgotten who I am. Your silence
is my pillow. And I want to finish off by reading a little bit from this new book of mine called Shelf. Shelf is a line-by-line rewrite song of myself by the great New York poet Walt Whitman. And it also happens to be published by a great little publishing house, Sagging Meniscus Press, who are based in Montclair, New Jersey. So I wanted to read a little bit of this. Icelandic moss and gelatin and miles of blinding asphalt. A woman, a man and a boy. And over there, a line of gannets. In another lifetime, perhaps, another time of year, and the tongues bloodied and the eyes put out, in angry minutes, in a frosted ditch, in the fungible shadows, impish collusions, in the calm of mildew, in heavenly snatch, in leafy ivy's intricate mess, in scape and up and over itself, in an emptying land, in a snow-kissed gulag, there where the fat man treads my boards, there where the hanged nymphs naked taunt me, to never be named, to never draw breath, slow and hate-filled like the golem, tripping, contemptuous through the dawn, in death's delivery, its unpacking spasm. Mother grew me in her funny insides. A prism narrows the me from the millions, pairs and perfects me. For what, if not for this? Here is liveliness, here our land. Evening holds me, uncertain in its arm, holds me, uncertain, in warm, imperiled adieu. Spit it out. Whatever it is, whatever the word and its underlying myriad of things, incertitudes and suggestions is, will happen. Bleached, austral dawn, and 100 white, impassable sailors piss and shave, shore leaves brief horror washed away forever, when the skittish wind grips you with its carnival order, or unbid obscurity newly descends, odors of silex, of liminal cunt, or when the spider on its web of breath waits all night while humans talk with millennial sorrow, wattles akimbo, jowls wet and glabrous, wiping their brows with cow-flecked fingers, weak for bullion, weak for gold, weak for that which makes believe, which makes whatever was changeable less, when the bough wastes and breaks and the hard, unlovely virgin seed, undone the decades, undone their refusal, a blank-eyed skipper and his crew, a ballast and antipodes to this weird, unsettling mess.
Good, I was Rufo. And now, please welcome Emma Jo Black to the stage.
Death slides over parted lips with a tube of cherry lip gloss, giggles soft, rattles her bones in the pencil case. Death cradles her phone, curls her hair around her finger, says she's lying here all alone. You should come join her. Death leans in, snatches the dog-eared poetry notebook to read it aloud to the class, rolls her eyes at the queer kid. Why are you so obsessed with me? Thank you. A middle-aged man was fully immersed in the virtual reality game Ingress, and he stumbled off the pier of the Poolbeg Lighthouse and drowned. So this is a poem I imagined his ghost could have written to the place he was doomed to haunt. A poem for the Poolbeg Lighthouse. Why do you look at me like that, with your tall silence, with your one red eye, the wind bowing in frustration to your stare? Make a walkway of itself on which to sneer at the tide. Watch a seagull pick the feathered flesh fresh from its kin, twin mouths devouring, a beak rotated back. How do you follow me to shore with your metal song, your blood shape in my sky? How dare you recognize my face? looking down from above with your rust-covered gaze. I'm not lonely like you. In fact, I'm leaving. Try chasing me down in this parched autumn mist. I won't turn back. As you split through the horizon, I won't cry. I've no tears for lighthouse, lest the barnacles stuck to my skin fossilize in their salt, lest the barnacles stuck to my skin bring us close, you and I. Thank you. I started following you a couple of weeks ago. You were eating chia seeds for breakfast and they liked it. Soon, you took them everywhere you went in your pocket and you felt a little less alone. Your followers came with you to the supermarket, watched you pick out a zero plastic toothbrush. They lay beside you on your pillow as you whispered in the dark, growing closer with every story you shared. You answered all of the questions that your followers had, showed them your face with no makeup for the first time, but they didn't comment. You missed your loneliness a little, tried to find it again, but with nobody to watch, you were no one. You had a chat with your followers, apologized for all the things you'd done without them, showed them how much you missed them, how deeply you cared, understood, cradled close in the palm of their hand. Happiness is only real when shared. Thank you very much.
Hi, thank you. That was Emma Shaw Black. She was born in Paris and has spent many days weeping under the bridges. Next, we're going to hear from our last poet from Paris, who has been living in Paris for a number of years, but is actually from Maine in the US. And for me is one of all the poets who have read tonight here in Paris have been a discovery for me, and their voices I have really appreciated. And Mary, I think, is one of the most recent. I was like, wow, this is great. She really has something. Please welcome Mary Macaulay to the stage.
At the lobster company where I worked, I killed for nothing in a paycheck, picked apart tenderly the block frozen corpses of shrimp and punched the price of scallops in as my employee number when I forgot myself somewhere in the dark, dark air and dirty plastic walls. For hours, I picked meat. I knew them intimately, the broken bodies, plunged my purple-skinned hands into the red, breathed in steam as if it could warm me. It was so cold, I was so cold, the cadavers curled. But I knew just how the base of my palms would crack the lobster tails. I knew eggs might have lain there once, embossed about the fringe, the tail, broad petals. I threw them in the trash. I flinched barely when the green guts spattered my eyes. They stained the poetry I tried to tape to the wall, too later, rushing already to meet some wanting customer. I scraped paper towels rough over my boiled face, peeled those rubied gloves away off my wrists delicately. They always turned from white to blood. I never did find out who died those days. Titled Normandie. I stood with straw in my shoes and blue periwinkle sky arched like an eyelid above my head. Hair greasy, streaked with dandelion blonde, arched above linseed cows, arched above dusty potatoes, swaying softly, hands of the breeze on the hips, the leaves, a waltz step and green. The fields never ended, the rabbits ran. Cows loosed their udders, the partridges startled always at my passage. Young limbs, wings, breezed and chased marguerites, closed their many-petaled thighs at dusk. Haricot died and oignon bloomed. Too early to see, dome-topped like cathedrals beneath that sky. I pulled the long-necked weeds, my knees stained. I was always kneeling, always praying in the dirt. I was nettle-stung young, and I followed a tall, thin farmer down the square lanes of a plume azure. Dogs at our feet, beaches blowing, roots too deep. He looked like my father. I have not seen my father for a long time now. Clouds turned supernova pink, and the moon hung splendor and scythe above those fields of dusk, of dust, of dew. Black-eyed Susan, Queen Anne's lace, rosier, chamomile. I hummed incantations of water, hay, eggshell, fumier above seeds, pearl round and brain fine, that I trickled between my brown knuckled fingers like sand to the waist of an hourglass. And with the rain, all bloomed. Thank you.
Lucy, thank you. Thank you, Mary. So that was the last of our Paris poets. We are Spoken Word Paris. You can find us on Spoken Word Paris on Facebook or Spoken Word _Paris on Instagram. And I have posted the bios for all the people at our end on Facebook, and we'll do that on spokenwordparis.org as well. Now, we're going to go back to New York. Please welcome New York to the stage. Hey. Hey.
Nuyorican one more time. Let's give it up for Paris. So we got two more poems coming over here. Then we're gonna go back to Paris, because I'd like, if David has a poem that he'd like to read, or if he has closing statements he'd like to share, and then we're gonna close it out. I hope everyone's been enjoying themselves. We are going a little overtime, but this is the first time we've done a show like this, so I appreciate everyone's patience. So let's keep it moving. Next coming to the microphone is a poet who has traveled. She was in Hollywood for a while. She's in Staten Island now, right? She was coming from, you were in Virginia when we first met you online, right? She was in West Virginia. Sorry, don't want to start a fight there. West Virginia, okay? She's a writer. She's doing her coding now, so she is going to be able to hack the interwebs and get all of your information. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me bring to the stage Miro. Give it up for her. She's also edited an anthology.
Oh my God, huh? No, hold it. These lists of accomplishments, they're really, they're not as great as he makes them sound. Thanks. Avant que je commence, je voulais dire bonsoir à tous nos amis à Paris et en France. C'est un plaisir de vous entendre et merci de partager vos mots avec nous. So I'm Miro. Miro reads books on IG. I also have a book coming out, so DM me. I have two for you. The first one is Untitled.
You stop short, halfway up the street, realizing you forgot your mask, needed if you plan to catch that ferry departing in less than 20. So with heavy bag and boots, you run over an uneven sidewalk, threatening to trip you through air thick like springtime, though it's October, and you unlock the door, grab what you need, and run back out, knowing you've locked up because you took those extra seconds to jiggle the handle, reassuring yourself as visions of a door ajar contradict your reason the closer you get to your destination. Thank you. Jeez. Come on, okay. I had a weird dream the other night, so I'm gonna tell you about it. This is called Stress Dream, or Weirder Than Fiction. I dreamt of velociraptors in spacesuits and a giant chocolate bar that rose from the ground, mechanically shed its wrapper and exploded into a mountain of decadent chunks. Caught in the feeding frenzy, my leg was bit, not hard enough to draw blood, but the raptor left his mark, and limping into the living room, my mom asked if I was hurting myself on purpose so I wouldn't have to help out. I woke, and after some reflection on these absurd images, along with those left out for the sake of brevity, my delirious, overworked mind concluded, yes, it all made sense. Thank you.
Miro! Make sure you go give her a follow. Miro reads books. She also edited an anthology, Love Letters to Gaia. Many of the people in our community were in it, so make sure that you go and give her a follow. So, one of the things that's today, like, this is so great, this new show, I've been dying to do it. But one of the things that's kind of sad for me is that my kid is in baseball in Little League, and he played his championship game today. It wasn't supposed to be, but because of weather, they backed it up. I just got the text message from him, and then they had lost, unfortunately. So, but he went to the championship, and that's part of learning, playing sports. He learned how to lose gracefully and bounce back, because as all of us adults know, especially as artists, which is probably why we write, life is tough. A lot of things don't go our way. So, because I normally don't perform, but because this is a special show, I wanted to rock out for the people in Paris too, to hear me. So after this, hopefully David has a poem, even maybe just a little something. We can hear from him, and then we'll close it out. So, in honor of my son, because I am words, he's called Letters, this is my poem about my son, Letters. I turn acorns into bombs and play wingman at the barber. Make a motorbike out of bus seats and fly to lands that man don't bother. Slip down slides too narrow for a 6'1" body, just for the smiles I barter. All in the day's work of me hoping to become a better father. I got a billion yeses in reserve for when my son asks, "Want to play with me?" I might let him curse on the low, but he will say please and thank you graciously. Like his pops, he tends to talk a lot, and he'll force you to learn how to listen patiently. But don't be alarmed if you see us walking down the street shooting imaginary laser beams. Pa-choom, pa-choom, pa-choom. He likes to do that. Every toy that greets his eyes in the store, I promise he's requesting. And I keep saying no until he starts asking the right type of questions. Because I can't always be there to be an immediate intervention. So even in between the Millennium Falcon and Death Star, I sneak in a lesson. I'll be damned if that next Lego set is built by I. Let him throw a tantrum and huff and puff and sit and cry. Let him hold his breath, even put his own finger in his eye. I purchase said item, I'll make him earn it, and after he throws his fit, he'll try. May he learn that people only truly support those who are doing for themselves, and we are all just one lost privilege away from living in the hell. So carry a big stick, but don't knock others' hearts off their shelves. Morals emit rings, and karma hears all told bells. Now, I don't know how anyone in New York or Paris sees the role of a parent. The end-all be-all of raising a kid is not what I'm declaring. By no means am I some super dad who's ethereal seafaring. I just felt like the need for more sincere love poems as a parent. It has taken a child to make adult me feel self-conscious. Put me on the stage anywhere in the world, even on Zoom, and I promise you I'm thinking, psst, I got this. I can have slang sound proper, make malleable out of the obnoxious, but being charged to be the father of heaven's favor comes with no manual I can stick in my back pocket. I show bravery when scared and how to moon a fear behind the marble of courage. Indeed, mini-me has given me more than just a proverbial purpose. Yo, someone better tell Advocate of Wordz that someone's dissecting the validity of his verbiage. Every word, every connotation, every action is being broken down like Peter at a circus. So in closing, if my son wants to grow up and become a hippie who will cook and bake and griddle soy, or a Nuyorican poet, still unwilling to deal with his own complexes like a fickle Freud, the day he steps out from under my shadow will be one of bitter joy, because although he is destined to become a great man, he will always be my little boy. I love you, letters. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to my son Letters. Buddy, I'm sorry that you lost the championship, but I'm proud of you for making it there. My kid has been maturing so much. Like, he makes me look like a great dad. I don't know how he turned out to be that great, but he turned out great and he makes me look great. So I love him. So for one last time, I would like us to go to Paris so we can hear from David, and then we'll come back to me and we will close it out. So if we could get David, I see David. He looks ready. I love his shirt and hat. David, you're looking really good. You're looking really good. Let's get him unmuted and mute me and let David take over. You're still muted.
I'm going to be a dad in about 4 months. I'm going to read a poem. It's an old poem. I wrote it like more than 10 years ago, back in the day when Generation Z was not a thing. Now it is, right? And at that time, I was calling it Generation Z because I'm British. I always say that. And there was something back in the day of the war on terror and all of that. There was something by Hunter S. Thompson. He wrote that the next generation of Americans would be the first in history to earn less than their parents, and he called them Generation Z. And of course, I was reading that, so I took it as Generation Z. Generation Z. No, I was wrong. You called it, he called it Generation Z. I called it Generation Z. Right. These are interesting times for Generation Z. Descending to the underground, you pick up what is said. There's a tension in the news today that'll tear your nerves to shreds as the suicides all take their seats. 7 bullets to the head. These are interesting times for Generation Z. The skies are full of aeroplanes screaming overhead, scattering plutonium more poisonous than lead. I know they're bombing someone. Terrorists, they said.
No, you guys.
Is what they said, it only costs indifference. So despair and turn your head, distract yourself with toys and games while the sun sets bloody red. And if what you see offends you, then put out your eyes instead. These are interesting times for Generation Z. So dream on, televisionaries, follow where you're led, stuff yourself with Prozac till you can't climb out of bed, buy yourself an alibi,
and join the walking dead. Thank you. So I want to say a big thank you to, first of all, everyone here in Paris for coming. It's been great to see you. It's been great to hear the poets read. Fantastic. And thank you, everyone in New York. Should we give a big thank you to the Nuyorican? We have reason to believe that this is the very first event of this kind, as in 2 venues live exchanging poetry like this. It's a cultural exchange, it's an art exchange, a poetry exchange. We need more of this stuff. Let's reach out across the world and do more of this stuff. Good night, Nuyorican. Thanks for being there.
One more time, can we please make some noise for our friends in Paris? Thank you, David Barnes. Thank you to the community in Paris, Spoken Word Paris, spokenwordparis.org. They are also on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Make sure you go give them a follow. The next time we are doing 2 venues, one mic is going to be in January. We are doing it with London. But I hope, and I believe we'll do this, I hope that we get to work with Paris again. I hope we get to work with David again. It's been such a pleasure. A shout out as well to Mariela Salazar for not only being a producer, but the camera woman. Did you see her shot zooming in and everything? That was fantastic. I love it. Shout out to everyone who has been joining us on Zoom, who's watched on Facebook and YouTube. We have been looking at your comments. We appreciate you. Shout out to all the poets here at the Nuyorican Poets Cafe. Give yourselves some love, please. Thank you, thank you. Did I shout out Ron Mark Thompson? One more time, Ron Mark Thompson behind the camera. And thank you to Anthony Missiano for bringing his camera to make sure that we look crisp and clean. Thank y'all so much. So we're going to do it again. Make sure you look us up online, Nuyorican Poets Cafe. You can check out the website, nuyorican.org. You can look up me, Advocate of Wordz. When you spell words, that's with a Z at the end, because, you know, poetic license. And I am from the Bronx. What? I so appreciate y'all. I hope Paris, enjoy the rest of your night. New York, and enjoy the rest of your day. Zoom, wherever you are in the world, enjoy yourselves. Also, for those of you who would like to watch this on YouTube and Facebook, look up Nuyorican Poets Cafe. There's going to be a recording of this, so you can go and you can check it out. You can share it with your friends. Be like, hey, look what I'm doing. Check this out. So you can totally do that. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Ron, take us home. Let's end it. Peace, y'all.